The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Willow placed her datapad on the crystalline table. Her expression was unreadable, a carefully maintained mask that revealed nothing of the storm beneath. "The Terran Federation accepts the Council's decision," she said quietly. "Effective immediately, humanity will withdraw from all Council operations, trade agreements, and defense pacts." Council Speaker's Arthic's tentacles twitched in what might have been satisfaction. "A wise choice, Ambassador. Perhaps your species will learn humility in isolation." Willow didn't respond. She simply gathered her belongings, nodded once to the assembled delegates, and walked out. Behind her, Logan, her military attaché, followed without a word, his jaw set in a hard line. The Council had made its choice. After 3 decades of human participation, they had voted to expel humanity for being too aggressive, too unpredictable, and culturally incompatible with the refined civilizations of the galaxy. The vote had been nearly unanimous, 847 to 3. As the heavy doors sealed behind them, Zarthik turned to the other delegates. "Finally, we can return to proper governance. The humans were always an aberration. They contributed significantly to our defense infrastructure," murmured Ambassador Krill of the Varosian Collective, one of the 3 who had voted against expulsion. "Defense." Zarthik's voice dripped with disdain. "We have enjoyed peace for 2 centuries. What need have we for the humans' violent tendencies?" Krill said nothing more. There was no point. The withdrawal was startlingly swift. Within 48 hours, every human ship had departed Council space. Trade convoys that had reliably supplied 17 sectors simply vanished. The human-operated maintenance stations that serviced the hyperspace relays went dark, their crews evacuating in silent efficiency. Logan stood on the bridge of the Defiant, watching the last human transport leave the Xerxes station. "They have no idea what's coming, do they?" he asked Willow. She stood with her arms crossed, staring at the massive Council station growing smaller in their viewport. "No, they don't. Should we warn them? We did. For 15 years, we warned them." Her voice was flat, emotionless. "They called it human paranoia. They said we saw threats where none existed." Logan knew she was right. Humanity's intelligence networks had detected the Crush swarms awakening 5 years ago. The Terran Federation had presented evidence, tactical analysis, projected invasion vectors. The Council had dismissed it all, claiming humans were manufacturing threats to justify their military spending and maintain relevance. "How long?" Logan asked. Willow checked her datapad. "Our last deep space probe detected the Vanguard fleet crossing the Helios threshold. 3 weeks, maybe 4, before they reached the first Council worlds. And the Council's defensive fleet, ceremonial at best. They haven't fought a real war in 100 years. Most of their warships are converted luxury cruisers." Willow's expression finally cracked, showing a flicker of something that might have been pity or regret. "They decommissioned their real military decades ago. Said it was wasteful." 3 weeks later, the first Crush attack came. The Delphinian colonies were the first to fall. 6 billion souls, gone in 72 hours. The Crush didn't negotiate, didn't communicate. They simply consumed, harvesting biological matter, stripping worlds to bedrock, and moving on with mechanical efficiency. The Council's emergency session descended into chaos. "Where's the defense fleet?" Someone screamed. "Destroyed," came the hollow response. "The Crush tore through them in minutes. Contact the humans. They have military forces, they can help us." Zarthik's voice cut through the panic. "The humans are gone. We expelled them, remember? They have no obligation to us now. Then we negotiate with them. Offer them what?" Krill interrupted, his voice heavy with resignation. "We took everything from them. Their trade routes, their station contracts, their Council seat. We called them warmongers and savages. And now we want to crawl back and beg for their protection?" The chamber fell silent. "We must try," someone whispered. The message reached Willow on Earth, in the modest office she'd set up after returning home. It was marked urgent, bearing 17 priority seals from different Council factions. Logan was with her when she opened it. They read in silence as the Council's plight unfolded in desperate text: casualty counts, projected losses, pleas for assistance. "They're offering us full reinstatement," Logan noted. "Trade concessions, territorial rights, a permanent seat on the High Council. They're offering us what was already ours, Willow corrected. What they took away. What do we do? Willow stared at the message for a long moment. Outside her window, she could see the Terran Defense Fleet in orbital formation, hundreds of warships, sleek and deadly. Built during the years when humanity had tried to convince the Council that the threat was real. We forward this to the Federation Council, she said finally. Let them decide. You know what they'll choose, Logan said quietly. Yes. Willow's expression was unreadable again. But the choice has to be theirs, just as it was the Galactic Council's choice to cast us out. The Federation Council's debate lasted 3 days. Some argued for intervention on humanitarian grounds. Billions of innocent lives hung in the balance. Others pointed out that humanity's own territory needed defending, that the crush would eventually reach human space regardless. In the end, the vote was closer than anyone expected. 127 to 1 to 4. The Terran Federation would not intervene, but they would offer sanctuary. Any refugee who could reach human space would be protected. Humanitarian supplies would be provided to evacuation fleets. And when the crush inevitably turned toward Earth, humanity would be ready. Willow delivered the message herself, returning to the council chamber one final time. The once proud delegates looked haggard now, desperate. You would let us die? Zarthik asked, his voice cracking. No, Willow replied calmly. We're offering everything we can without sacrificing our own people's safety. But we will not throw away human lives to clean up a mess you created through willful ignorance. We made a mistake. You made a choice, Willow interrupted. You chose to ignore the threat. You chose to expel the only species with the military capacity to face it. You chose comfort over preparedness. She paused. Now you face the consequences of those choices. She turned to leave, then stopped. For what it's worth, I truly am sorry. But humanity warned you. We begged you to listen, and you called us paranoid warmongers for it. As Willow walked away for the second and final time, Krill's voice followed her. What will you do when the crush reach your borders? She glanced back. What we've always done, Ambassador. We'll fight, and we'll survive. 6 months later, the crush swarm reached the edge of human territory. They encountered the Terran Defense Fleet at the Proxima Line. 300 warships crewed by humans who had spent their entire lives preparing for exactly this moment. The battle lasted for days. When it was over, the crush vanguard was destroyed. Human casualties were significant, but the line held. Behind that line, in refugee camps scattered across human worlds, millions of former Council citizens watched the broadcasts in stunned silence. The savage, warmongering humans had achieved what the entire Galactic Council could not. On Earth, in her modest office, Willow received a new message. It was from the remnants of the Council, or what was left of it. It contained only 2 words, thank you. She didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. Humanity had withdrawn, just as the Council had demanded. And in their silence, they had spoken volumes about the price of dismissing those who warn of danger, the cost of mistaking preparedness for aggression, and the consequences of forcing away the only ones willing to stand in the dark. The galaxy would remember.